It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
Getting back to my old ways, screaming on nigga like shout a driver with road rage, don't play with it. I'm from a section where the peacemakers learn war. Hairpin trigger nigga squeeze like a nerve ball. I see these dirt bombs jacking my steeds. Young boy got drip, no broccoli and cheese. I been dope boy fresh like a front of the key. Since the juvie 400 degrees, run up the fees. I don't really need much, but an all-star special. Running for the money like a dog, got the kennel, I'm a shrewd nigga. Flow sick like the flu nigga. Velour suit like gold, remember gold niggas looking for the Fetty. I trick them like Machiavelli. I'm sharper than a machete, protected like Serengeti. My people known to be petty, I don't stop them at all. If you're looking for the party, I invite you to brawl. I'm on the first thing, smoking for the bad play. Dusty ass nigga, destination is an ashtray. Puffin' Mark Cubans on my way to where the mask play. Chill with the envy, nigga, what you read? Cafe, weather the storm. Far from the norm, my word is my bond. Threaten my life, I leave you the way you was born. Another day, another dollar from the TV. Keeping me clean like a motherfucking neat freak. I'm on seat geek shopping for the Super Bowl. Whole life on display like the Truman Show. Grind season, see the future like I'm mind reading. I got a plan to multiply all of my achievements. Ghostwriter with a 5 thesis. Got my feet planted where you can't go. I don't buy sneakers. I'd rather spend my time with a fine diva. Niggas can't see the vibes, we on John Cena. But it was all good till the price raised. Last night what I seen made my life change. It's been a journey seeing homies in the gurney violating civil rights. They don't come with an attorney. Praying for my health, sitting through another sermon. Made me question my discernment. Do I get what I'm deserving? Life going fast, every day a new excursion. Sink overseas, even better with conversions. Wonder will I make it before they really get the purging? Shit is turning to a circus, wonder if it's really worth it. 24/7 niggas stay committed. When you come in this game, you can't play with it.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Hey, man, we got to get into this whole Finesse2Tymes thing, man. He been calling out J Prince Jr. or Jazz Prince. He's been calling out J Prince mob ties for months. At one point, he leaked out certain specifics of his contract. He's locked in a fucked up deal. He's under contract to Moneybagg Yo. He's under contract to Atlantic Records. He's under contract to J Prince and his own company. He's under contract to Mob Ties through Jazz Prince. And then he's the fifth wheel on his own contract. Okay? He don't even work with Moneybagg Yo no more. He was signed over to Mob Ties through him and left in the red for about $100,000, which needed to be paid off 1/3 of the way between himself, J Prince, and the Mob Ties label. Okay? Not to mention he's on Atlantic, which is the biggest company out of all of them. And who knows what the specifics of that particular deal look like. So he's kind of in a 360 with Mob Ties and J Prince, and also more than likely in a 360 with Atlantic, which means he's probably making little or no money. Now, understand when I say little or no money, he's not completely broke. He's not poor. He's not on food stamps. He's not on welfare. You know, he's not to that degree of broke. He can go and perform. He's been performing. Looks like his last couple of shows have been unsuccessful. He showed up in a couple of cities where things were a little too rowdy and hectic. He couldn't even get into the venue. Therefore, he had to cancel. So it does look like his persona, his street ties, and his street character that he plays in music is starting to catch up with him. So that's also hindering his income streams as well. But he has a lot of jewelry. He has a lot of, items and materials that keep him happy. So I do believe that he, keeps some cash on him, liquid. But as far as his actual accounts, as far as his longevity, as far as his generational wealth, is probably at a standstill. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what extracurriculars he may have going on outside of music. But he's in a fucked up spot. He's been calling them out for months. Damn near trying to get out this deal for like a year and some change. I think he's trying to file a lawsuit and all of this different type of stuff to try to get out. It's been bad, right? So now, in the midst of him pleading with Jazz Prince and Jay Prince to let him out of the Mob Ties deal, he actually inputted his record contract with them into ChatGPT just so that he could try to learn some of the discrepancies that are present in the paperwork. Now, why he didn't actually go sit down with a lawyer, with an entertainment attorney, with somebody who's been in the industry and negotiated these deals and has the proper talking points and the proper protocol and how to get an artist out of these situations if possible, or to pay perhaps make amendments to the contract, because that's typically what happens when an artist enters into a less than friendly contract. Along the way, you make amendments and addendums to make it more favorable. But again, he decided to go to chat. All right. So let me go ahead and play this video of Finesse2Tymes expressing his further grievances with the situation, basically stating, y'all gonna have to let me out of this deal or I'm gonna start crashing out. All right, so here we are on Twitter. It says Finesse2Tymes was shocked and appalled when he put his contract into ChatGPT and it told him that he's in a 360 deal and the label owns everything.
So me and Suge, I done finally found my mob tie contract. Got a lawyer to look over it, but a lot of lawyers, like they don't really want to fuck with it. They fuck with it, but they don't really want to fuck with it. And I got a couple people that have reached out to me, and I just sent it to them, and I still don't trust this shit a whole lot. So me and Suge finally decided to do ChatGPT. So this is my first time using ChatGPT. I never used this shit. Everybody been encouraging me to try to use this shit, so I'm finna try to use it for the first time.
You should also.
And he's showing this motherfucker in real time.
Have it been breached?
Right.
Have this been...
No, active is in
Sheesh.
loopholes for you to get out of your contract.
Okay. Yes. And especially if the artist had no proper legal advice. But this is not easy to win without a lawyer. So basically, the Jay Prince, the old man, told me don't get a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Told you not to.
He told me, we ain't gonna even go there and fuck this shit. Advance and benefits could be used against you. They gave you cash, jewelry, truck, private plane, etc.
You pay for all that.
Yeah, all that paid back will go along. That means they'll argue you already got paid, so you owe delivery. So walking away could trigger recoupment claims or even lawsuits. Assignment clause, another trap. Transfer the contract to another label, company, anytime. So basically, they can sign their label over to anybody and I still be with them, basically. That's what they're saying. Can't transfer or escape, even the next deal, basically. That keeps you locked in, ownership changes. Okay, real talk. Yeah, that question right there is key, not just random. Short answer. If music was released through a real distributor, your easy loophole is probably gone. Why this matter? In your contract, everything revolves around a distribution agreement. If they secured a qualified distributor like a real label, distribution pipeline, and release music commercially, then the contract locks in and extends automatically. The term becomes tied to that distribution deal. If music was released, here's what actually that usually means for you. You can't use the shopping period exit anymore. The contract likely auto extended. They now control master releases, your recording services. Basically, you're in an active deal phase. Okay? But don't get discouraged. You still got angles. Even if music drop, you can still look for what is real, qualified distributor. Now, all right, so now we go to Atlantic deal.
Now, you know what? Unrelated to what he's reading on ChatGPT, but I'm noticing as he's reading it, he's not saying Merzik. You know, when he do his videos and stuff, he'll talk about Merk and all his Merzik and all that shit. But that nigga reading that motherfucking ChatGPT, he ain't throwing that Mer on that motherfucker. That nigga saying music very clearly. I'm sorry. I had to say it because I'm listening and I'm like, I find that to be very interesting.
I went through your contract and I'm gonna break it down plain, no lawyer talk, so you can actually understand what's going on and what the power is. Contract overview. This is a deal between Atlantic Records Corporation, the label, Mob Ties Entertainment, artist company, artist Finesse2Tymes, Ricky Hamilton. This is a recording deal. Profit share deal, not just a simple distribution. Exclusive deal, very important. The artist is locked in exclusively to Atlantic. Can't record for nobody else. Label controls all music during the contract. This is standard, but very restrictive. Length of contract. This is where labels win. Starts when deal is signed. First term until albums drop plus 10 months after. Then label has 3 options to extend, meaning label can keep him for up to 4 total periods. Artist does not.
Damn. Now I'm locked in. Now I'm really like, where the fuck is the rest of this? Because they said he could get 4 total periods. So that's like the first period is the first deal, and you could do 3 additional deals on options, which means he could be locked in. Of course, they probably not going to do it, but he would be locked in for 3 additional periods of their choosing. You know what I'm saying? If there's no negotiation power. Now, in an option situation, you should be able to opt out, but he doesn't seem very much educated. And for whatever reason, he's saying that he's coming across lawyers that don't even want to touch his situation, most likely because of the intimidation and the reputation that comes with Jay Prince, mob ties, and that whole situation, because people are in fear of these people, you know what I'm saying? Have been for years. And here we have a screenshot of some of the cons that exist within this contract that says, what's bad about this deal? Here's the real talk. Label owns everything, masters forever, so there's no real pathway for him to get it back. Long-term lock with automatic extensions. That's crazy. 360 deal. They touch all income. So, of course, that's going to be off of the music sales, the music publishing. I would love to see what the publishing situation looks like for him. That's going to be any sync deals, any TV, movies, anything that his music may come into contact with. They're going to get a piece of that. If he touches a stage on tour, they're going to get something off of that. If he does a deal with, a Live Nation or a touring company, they're going to get money off of that. If he does an endorsement deal with a company, which he doesn't seem to be all that marketable to be doing big endorsements, but if he gets like a Fashion Nova deal, a Shein endorsement, or, True Religion or something that's kind of in his lane, they're going to eat off of that as well. Label has final say on almost everything. Hard to exit once distribution happens. So from the moment he started releasing music, this was hard for him to get out of, which makes sense because once you execute a contract and sign your signature on it, it gets tough, especially if you're doing it without proper legal counsel. Who knows? Because you're not able to, when you're doing a contract with somebody, excuse me, you're supposed to be able to negotiate up front. You're supposed to be able to read through the offer, and you're supposed to be able to redline the contract and point out things that you feel are discrepancies, things, verbiage that you would like changed. You know what I'm saying? All of the different things that you would like to see edited, you do that beforehand. Once you're locked into it, you're then at the mercy of the label, like I said before, to where they become open to doing addendums and amendments, where then you come to the table, you do the same thing. You say, these are the terms that I would like changed, updated, percentages, all these different things. I would like a pathway to eventually get to my masters. I would like a pathway to where I can, give you guys notice, right? Because when your deal is supposed to be like nearing its end, you're supposed to be able to notify your label whether or not you plan to exercise the option with them. You know what I'm saying? To be like, yo, I'm not going to renegotiate. I'm not going to do a new deal with y'all. I want to go. And you have a certain window where you're supposed to notify them that you plan on leaving, right? So all of those things should be somewhere in the contract unless that verbiage is just not present anywhere. because he didn't know to ask for it. So in his post, he says, I can't believe y'all, bro. Y'all think this shit funny, but it's not. I moved off loyalty. I thought it was an honor to have Jay Prince, the old man, to be my manager. Y'all told me I didn't need a lawyer because all they do is fuck over people. Oh my God. Now, keep in mind here, Jay Prince and them, all of them, they stepped in to sign him when he was released from prison. So this is a man who's coming out disenfranchised, uneducated, coming from a life of violence, drugs, selling, I believe, pimping, all this different type of shit he was into. And then he gets confronted to become an artist under these people in the music industry. Not that I'm saying have sympathy for him. I'm just pointing out the discrepancies in his judgment that leads to situations like this, right? So he says, don't get a lawyer because all they do is fuck over people. Well, it looks like to me, y'all worse than the lawyers. I'm asking as a man, can somebody please buy me out this situation before I crash out and do some that get me a life sentence? Because that's the way I'm going out. It's guaranteed I'm not going to die in the process. So he's pleading for somebody out there, perhaps some angel investor or somebody in the industry who's ultimately, I mean, let's be clear. If somebody comes to the table to buy you out of this contract with Jay Prince, which ultimately is going to put their safety in danger, they're going to hold this price over your head as well. Because who knows what that price is going to be? They're going to drive it up. Whatever you're worth, they're gonna multiply it at least 2-3 times so that they get more out of the deal. So even if it's like they say, give me $5 million, you probably not even really worth $5 million, right? But then you got to make up that $5 million for whoever it is that comes to the table to get you out the situation. I don't see Jay-Z coming to help you on this one. So I don't know. He said, I'm not going to die in the process. I'm not trying to be a bully, but this contract is one-sided as fuck, and I posted it all. Let me out, or I'm going to spend my entire life to bring y'all down. For all the mob-tied street guys that got love for me and that I got love for, I hope this don't come between us. But finding out I don't own my masters, I agreed to a partnership. He thought he did. Y'all got me good. Posting Atlantic contract next. Fuck the label. So he's now saying he gonna go in detail about his situation with Atlantic next. I'm on his Instagram right now. He has more screenshots, meaning he does not own his music. 7, merch and image rights, label controls, his name, his face, merch and endorsements. So his name and image are also controlled by the label. He don't even have that. He gets 50% of profits after costs. They can use his image for almost anything. 8, ancillary rights, 360 deal alert. What is this? This is your strongest legal weapon. 2, ready, willing, able, trap on label. If the label won't let you record, won't approve budgets, keeps delaying you. This is something that he's also said about Mob Ties, is that he's submitting music to them to be commercially released, but they won't release it. He ain't dropped the album since like 2023 or something like that because they won't release nothing on him. You send notice saying, I'm ready to fulfill my contract. If they still block you, you can terminate. That's what ChatGPT's telling him, but it's definitely not going to be that easy. You can't just send an email and say that. Loophole. You flip it so they become the one in breach. They've been breaching your shit the whole time, my brother. That's how it works. What happens here? Label overspends, projects flop, they lose money too. Strategy, make them spend, they may cut you loose. It's not going to work because they're not letting you drop nothing. 8, no guaranteed release success. They are required to release, but they don't have to promote heavily. They can drop and do minimal push. Loophole, if they half-ass releases, damn. ChatGPT talking about half-ass? You build case for bad faith and pressure negotiation. 9, inadvertent failure, language contract says. And I would love to see what the rest of these screenshots say without being cut off. fake loopholes. Don't fall for these. Don't just drop music. That's a breach. You drop independent, that's grounds for a lawsuit. Say the contract is unfair, doesn't matter legally, which he's been doing online for months. Real game plan using these loopholes. If I was playing this, deliver a project perfectly. Track release deadlines. If they delay, trigger release failure. Meanwhile, approve nothing fast. Make them spend money, build financial pressure, push toward buyout, renegotiation, or termination. Unfortunately, putting this out there only gives them even more grounds for preparation to make you look bad. There's probably some language in that contract that says you can't come out and disparage their name. They may try to put a defamation claim out there on you. All of this stuff could get tricky. Most likely reality based on deals like this for artists in this situation, 90% of the time, no clean legal exit yet, still in contract, but they do have leverage for renegotiation, chance at buyout, opportunity if label delays release. Straight answer, he only has a real exit if music was delivered and Atlantic failed to release it properly. And this is the contract. I remember this. So this is when he signed with Jay Prince and them. This is from 2022. Mr. Hampton, the following letter, when executed, all of the parties will confirm the material terms of the exclusive recording agreement. The corporation duly formed under the laws of the state of Texas. And Ricky Hampton, that's Finesse's real name, address located at blank. Services during the term, you will, in accordance with this agreement, render exclusively the company artist services as a musical recording artist for the purpose of making master recordings for company. 2, cause the masters to be produced, and 3, deliver the masters to company. Artists will perform such related services as as company may reasonably require, including performing in videos, making the appearances, and participating in other customary activities in connection with the marketing and promotion of records and videos derived from masters hereunder. For the purposes of this agreement, the master shall include but not be limited to all pre-existing masters and recordings attached hereto as Exhibit A. What you mean pre-existing masters? Y'all shouldn't be getting nothing that I'm bringing to the table unless you're talking about an album. Recording commitment term. The term shall consist of an initial period plus the additional contract periods. Okay, so that's where they talk about those 3 additional periods, if any, by which such term may be extended by company's exercise of one or more of the options granted to company below. The initial contract period will consist of the period commencing on the date hereof and continue until 12 months following the date as of which artist has made complete delivery to company of the master sufficient to constitute an album embodying artist performance from the effective date and the date, which is 9 or until 9 months following the initial commercial release date of an album by a distributor, whichever is later is the event that, in the event that company shall enter into an agreement with a qualified distributor. Then, notwithstanding anything to the, what do we have here? Contrary contained in the agreement, each contract period shall be coextensive with the then current period of the distribution agreement or successor agreement. Interesting. Plus an additional 30 days. From time to time, companies shall have unrestricted right, but not the obligation at company's election to conform any or one or more provisions, definitions, reserves, free goods, etc. Of this agreement to the distribution agreement. So if they lock in with a distributor, you then become subject to their terms of the distribution company as well. Artist hereby grants the company 2 separate consecutive and irrevocable options. Oh, for 2. How do you spell for 2 like that? 2 separate consecutive and irrevocable options to extend the term for 1 more additional contract period consisting of 1 album per option. And I think he's only released 1 album with them. In the event that the distribution agreement, if any, provides for contract periods of longer duration, then the provisions applicable to distribution agreement shall prevail. Company will be deemed to have automatically exercised the option to extend the term for the first additional contract period. It's a lot of stuff in here. Qualified distributor means a record company or distribution company which is a parent or subsidiary of or is affiliated with, shares common ownership blank with the major record label groups. In the United States, which distributors are presently Sony Music Entertainment, Universal, or Warner. Okay, so that would be the big three of the industry. And then if there's a subsidiary under that, they would be the qualified distributors. If they're under them, they would be indie distributors like Red, ADA, etc. It's wild, man. Here they get into the advance and recording funds, a 70% share. So they claim that he was going to get 70% from net advances with respect to each album required. Only problem is they really fucked him over. He put out some of this information before. So he would royalties, legal advance is $15,000. Upon full execution of this agreement, company shall pay artists on execution advance of $40,000. Additionally, company will provide artists with a bulletproof truck, an allotment to purchase jewelry. Oh no! Hold on, what the fuck? Company will provide artists with a bulletproof truck. Why is that in your contract? An allotment to purchase jewelry obtained for artist jewelry from the jeweler and pick artists up from prison in a private plane. They actually documented that they picked him up from prison in the private plane. Legal advance $15,000. That's all they gave you was 15 racks, a bulletproof truck, and a budget to buy some jewelry, which he claims that he's paid back. Company shall pay to artists a royalty on the net sales of records derived from the masters equal to 50% of the net royalties payable to company pursuant to the distribution agreement on top line sales of U.S. albums through normal retail channels, but in no event less than the following. These percentages don't even look correct. 17, it says 108, 17, 14. They don't even got the decimals in the right place. So that would be like 17%, 18%, 18.5. LP 4 and 5, they then reduce you down to 16. How that work? If I'm going later into the contract, how is my royalty rate gonna decrease? Damn. And he didn't know none of this shit. He was basically illiterate. Not to say he can't read, but comprehension is the problem. Where's the other stuff in here? Damn, he posted his whole fucking contract. They have a breakdown of who gets paid off of what. They claim he's going to get 70%, but clearly he's not actually getting that because you only get your 70% after all the money they put into you has been recouped. And you have to be able to prove that the money has been recouped in order for them to actually pay you after that is accumulated. Only way to prove it is if you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to audit the label to see the financials. And who's to say that the financials ain't fucking cooked? I don't even like Finesse2Tymes, but that nigga, he is in a fucked up position. Not that he's the first, won't be the last. Ooh, they got your publishing in here too. Damn. Publishing during the term. Prior to entering into negotiation with any third party other than us, with respect to the publishing rights and the compositions and or your writing services individually and collectively, you shall first notify us that you would like to negotiate such an agreement. Oh, hell no. You shouldn't have to go to these niggas to talk about getting a pub deal. They don't own your, they not supposed to own your pub, but if it's in your contract, they do. During the 60-day period after we receive such notice, you shall negotiate in good faith exclusively with us the terms of an agreement relating to your publishing rights. If by the expiration of such 60-day period no such agreement is reached between you and us, you may negotiate with third parties an agreement with respect to the publishing rights, but you may not enter into an agreement with any third party unless you first notify us in writing of the material agreement with any third parties. So you got to ask them for permission. And they going to say within 60 days, we have to negotiate a pub situation to our liking. Otherwise, you can go with them. What the hell? Third party, if we do not accept the third party offer within 15 business days after we receive such third party offer, you may then enter into the agreement set forth. So they want to do the deal with the pub company. They have to agree to it and they have to sign on to it. And if they happen to be, I don't know, not if they're rejecting the offer within that time period, then he could go do it himself. If artist desires to enter into an exclusive co-publishing agreement, then in consideration of $5,000 payable within 10 business days of written notice of company, business, days full of execution of this agreement. If artist desires to enter into such exclusive co-publishing and administration agreement with the company upon full execution of this agreement, then artist agrees as follows. So you got to pay them $5,000 to get your publishing rights to go with somebody else. Artist agrees to irrevocably and absolutely sign, convey, and set over the company's publishing designee an undivided 50% interest in the worldwide copyright and all renewals and extensions thereof and all other rights in and to each controlled composition. So if you go do a pub deal, you could go get your check. You got to pay us $5,000 up front and you got to still give us 50%. Damn. Publisher shall be the exclusive administrator of all rights in and to each such controlled composition, and it shall be entitled to exercise any and all rights with respect to the control, exploitation, and administration of the controlled composition, including without limitation the sole right to grant licenses, collect all income, and to use the name, approved likeness, and approved biographical material of each composer, lyricist, and songwriter hereunder in connection with each applicable controlled composition for the full term of copyright. Damn. Yeah. Paper gangsters. And they be trying to say Diddy was the only one. Hell no. These niggas been doing this shit for fucking decades. Wow. This shit ugly, man. So yeah, at the end of the day, I can only wish him the best. You know, I hope he does find somebody or a group of people. You probably gonna need a group. You gonna need a fucking law and entertainment law group. You gonna need a fucking publishing administrator company that's willing. And the problem with all of that is he worth it? You know what I mean? An artist who hasn't released an official album in 3 years, he's kind of just known on a he's more than a local artist, but he's not like an international artist. He's not like a big fucking deal. He had a couple hit joints, but it's been years. He has popular songs, you know what I mean? He generates attention daily on the net, so he does have that working in his favor. But then they'll probably have to monetize on his online presence just to really make anything back after they invest into him, the time, the resources, etc. So I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen, but I do hope that he's able to get out of this contract. I hope that he's able to do it safely and move on with his life, and hopefully be able to become a more productive citizen. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say he's not now, but y'all see the antics he be on online. I don't know. I do wish him the best though. And fuck, man, Jay Prince and all them niggas, like, these is the niggas that was in business with Drake. Remember, Drake's royalties and all that shit was on ice for damn near a decade because they signed him to a deal before he even signed with Young Money. And then the Young Money deal got tied into Aspire because Jazz was in partnership with Wayne's manager. And then eventually Drake fired Wayne's manager, Tez. You know what I'm saying? So he was in a fucked up situation just like this. Except he wasn't crashing out online. He was just, you know, in his defense, at least he was one of the most popular artists in music at the time. So he was able to line everybody's pockets and bring in the money. And eventually payouts were made to get him out of his situation. That's why it was so vital when UMG came in 2022, giving him that $500 million deal. Not to say he was broke, but he was going through some shit. So whatever he did have, he really should have had way more. I can only imagine who else got caught up in this shit, who don't have the popularity, don't have a real voice online or anything, who just got to live with this shit. Crazy. Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. I'll see y'all on the next one, man. Peace.
Yeah, family over fame in this bitch, yeah. The glory of living righteous is setting in. My street knowledge and education's a perfect blend. Young mogul, independent, I've been setting trends. The first one from my family to be faithfully wed. Fuck niggas and the horses that they riding on. I see this shit from all angles like a polygon. I'll never politic and the drama be piling on. Father and great son acknowledged like I'm Bobby Bonds. Conversation with my lady about the paper route. 5-6 bank accounts every day I make it count. They down talking my commentary for hating now. Well, I can take it cause I'm bodying your favorite now, please. I can do this shit in my sleep. I been writing for these niggas, y'all read it and weep. I been fighting these niggas if you speak on the street. I'll turn your birthday party into New Year's Eve. Don't let me take it there. We ain't playing fair. This the ATL, Southside nigga moving furniture like Wayfair. Life on hold, no insurance for your healthcare. Lifeline gone, so you wanna be a millionaire? Well, let me tell you about this world I built. The women I dodged, the niggas that I read for filth. The sympathy calls, consulting for the stacks I built. I had